Hi, welcome back to Celebrating Culture. We're here today at the Saints training camp with Joe Lombardi, who is the quarterback coach. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks, good to be here.
So Joe, I understand, you were actually, let's start off with, you were born on the anniversary of D-Day, June 6th.
That's right.
So anything special because you went on to an Air Force career? Did that ever come up?
Not specifically, but it was always something I was aware of. The longest day was always showing on my birthday, and going into the military, obviously something I was aware of. And then, the World War II Museum being here in town, we always get a yearly membership to that, and I take my kids all the time, and so it's neat. It's a nice connection.
So June 6th, I'm thinking, is a big, this year was the 75th
That's
anniversary.
Right. That's right.
And that was your birthday.
Yes, sir.
And then how did you pick the Air Force?
Well, I was always interested in going to an academy, and then after my senior year of football in high school, I started getting recruited, and I was down in Navy and Air Force, and just ended up picking Air Force. It was a little closer to home, and at the time they were, I think, still probably a better football program. So, 18-year-olds aren't always thinking straight, but it was a really good decision for me.
I went to Tulane, and Tulane was big with Air Force. That's a big rivalry.
Sure.
Playing Air Force.
Yeah.
You were tight end.
Yes.
Now you're a quarterback coach.
Right.
So does it help? You know what you wanted from a quarterback, I guess, as a tight end.
Yeah. As you get into coaching, and you're a young guy, you're learning, and a lot of it depends on, what room you get attached to. And so, I ended up as a coach in the XFL, if you remember that old,
sure.
Way back when. And then became an offensive coordinator at a small college, and I coached quarterbacks there. And then when I got here, they kind of stuck me in the quarterback room as an offensive assistant. So I spent a couple years there and learned the system and how the quarterbacks think, and then I became a quarterback coach here. So it's worked out really well.
I know you can't say much, but the Saints have a very unique quarterback situation.
Right.
Like Tyson Hill, Drew Brees.
Yep.
Is that a lot of stuff that's just natural to you?
Yeah, I think we're fortunate. One, Drew's such a professional and arguably the best quarterback to ever play the game. And then Taysom's a really good quarterback, but we put him at tight end and receiver, and there's so much that he has to do, and it helps coaching the quarterbacks, because when you've got to tell him what his job is when he's not playing the quarterback, what everyone's supposed to do. So that certainly helps. And then we got a starting quality backup in Teddy Bridgewater, so it's very fortunate.
Must be very engaging to come up with these unique plays that it seems like only the Saints can do.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to Drew and the other quarterbacks, just how smart they are, how well they're able to adjust, because we do change a lot. I'm well above average in the NFL, our game plan from week to week, and so these guys have a lot to learn every week, but they work hard at it, and they get it done, and we've been able to have success.
You've had a lot. What was it like winning the Lombardi Trophy?
Yeah, that's right. No, it was neat. Obviously there was the family tie with the name of the trophy, so that made it special, but I think that's everyone's main goal when they're in the NFL, whether as a player or a coach or the support staff. And so hard to say I was more excited than anyone else. It was neat.
Now, with that, I'm looking at your grandfather. Obviously, he's an iconic Italian.
Yeah.
And then when you look at him and you read the books, his values, he went to church every day. He coached at West Point.
That's right.
So you have a military background for a while there. But his job was, I'm reading, he said, run to daylight.
Yes.
Do you have any mantras like that?
Oh, we've got a ton. And most of mine probably come from Sean, having coached for him for 10 years. So there's a ton of them. But run to daylight was his iconic saying. It was the name of the book that they wrote. It would kind of chronicle the week of his life getting prepared for a football game. So, that's always been a phrase that's been in the back of my mind since I was a little kid.
And perseverance. I think about, that was an interesting era. You had the blocks of granite?
7 blocks of granite. He was part of that at Fordham.
Yes. And but the perseverance. Right now, that's so key to coming back every week and repeating as a champion. It just seems that's got to be a trait that you have to have in today.
Absolutely. I think really anything you do in life, but it's easy to see and apply in sports, and specifically football. It's a tough game, and you got to suit up every Sunday, and these guys are sore and beat up, and to be able to turn it on every Sunday, it takes a ton of mental toughness, and it's hard to be a part of this game if you don't have that, and I think it applies to coaches, players, everyone involved in it. And the more that you have that perseverance and are able to keep driving forward, whether it's things are going well or things are going bad, you've got to have that mental toughness to keep bringing your A game every week.
Also, you have a son who's playing football.
Yeah, so I've got 7 kids.
You got 7?
I've got 7, and so my oldest now is a senior at Jesuit, and yeah, he's going into his senior year, and he loves it.
Do you have anything you're trying to instill in him?
Well, like most kids, he didn't want to hear from Dad a lot, but yeah, so I try to stay hands off when it comes to football, but certainly all the life, all these things that we preach about sports, being unselfish and being mentally tough and having that perseverance, they apply to everything in life. So we try to give him those lessons and hope they get applied when he gets on the football field.
So do you feel like the Jesuit program, though, as far as also the discipline? I think the Jesuits discipline, Fordham discipline. I mean, that's a large part of life.
Absolutely.
Air Force. I mean,
yeah. I think it's it was important to us when we were picking a high school for them. I love that they had the uniforms. They kind of look like the military uniforms, and I think their philosophy and what they're trying to instill in these kids, being a man for others. I think that's a great lessons that he's learned. I think that school's been excellent for him and his character development.
What about yourself, as far as, do you picture one day having your own Lombardi trophy?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that we all share the trophy we've got here.
I mean, as a head coach.
Yeah, listen, you're not in control of those things. So my philosophy as a coach is always just show up and do your job the best you can. And we love it here in New Orleans. I've lived here, I think, 10 years now, and so this is home for my family, so I'm in no hurry to leave. I love
We're
it
glad
here.
that you're here. I mean, what a thrill. And actually, also for Jesuit. So you're playing both in the pros, and we got Lombardis at Jesuit as well for the legacy there.
Yep.
And any other things as far as the Italian?
Yeah.
Anything like any special dishes that you like?
Well, we've got the Lombardi family secret, gravy that's been handed down from way back when. My dad tells stories. He grew up in New Jersey, and they had the Sunday go over to Grandma's, and all the relatives would come, and 7 courses were being served, and if you didn't eat enough, Grandma would be offended. So we've got a lot of that history in our family that we grew up with.
Does somebody know, because that is actually the key that connects Italians, is that Grandma had a recipe that was secret.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a couple secrets in there that it turns out good too.
Does your dad know it well enough that you think you're going to pick it up?
My dad not really was a guy that was in the kitchen a lot, so we really didn't stumble across it until I was in college, and my dad's cousin lived in Denver. I was in Colorado Springs. He got in touch with me, and he had the recipe. So yeah, and I remember we went up there. It was at my graduation. We went to eat there, and my dad tasted it, and you could just see it brought him back. He's like, "This is it. This is it." He could just remember the flavors of it, and so we've been making it ever since.
So you make it at home here in New Orleans?
For sure. Yeah, it's a big deal.
I want to get invited over
Absolutely,
sometime. Right?
absolutely.
All right. Joe, I want to thank you for being on
my
this
pleasure.
show, and I wish you a great season.
Thank you.
And thanks for all you brought to New Orleans.
Great. Thank you very much.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Celebrating Culture.